So I recently moved to SF and now I am working at a startup and take you through a day. So here we go. I really just have that I just moved in vibes. So here's what I've been sleeping on the past few days. It's just the mattress on the floor and I literally have nothing in this room. If we go to my kitchen here, it's pretty empty. Like, here's just my floor. There's nothing here. So I've actually been living here for a couple of weeks already, but I just haven't had the time to go out and buy furniture. And I really should do that. So maybe I'll make an update video once I start moving in. But yeah, I gotta head to work for now. So I guess the secret here is that this is actually an apartment. So it's a setup. You got a few desks. You got the laundry machine here too as well, which is awesome. Here, I'm gonna make some coffee first, but I'll give you an update. So I just finished lunch and I figured, I did a little bit of the morning work and I figured I'd talk a little bit, but let me just make sure nothing confidential is in the background. So I recently moved to SF and part of the reason is when I've been wanting to move to SF, you probably can tell from my previous videos, but I also, met a couple guys and did a little bit of a work trial with them. And what they're working on is super cool. They're kind of building a developer platform for browser agents. So anything that you interact with via a browser, you can automate it and expose that through an API. And it was really cool. I think the space that they're working in, as a dev myself, I do take interest in. A lot of the work that they do is very AI focused. And so what I'm working on right now is kind of an AI agent that will be used in the self-healing process. Like your browser interactions could go wrong. My agent will figure out why it went wrong and then try to correct its course and continue on. And so I'm actually the first hire, funny enough. So we're still working out of the apartment. Very early stages, very scrappy, and they're both kind of away right now, which is why I'm filming. Yeah, and really the kind of peek into the life of this life especially is that, I got here around 8:30 and usually I leave around 9 p.m.-ish, I would say. They work a little bit longer and the days are long. You kind of have to iterate very quickly. And so you kind of just end up coding for a really long time. And that's pretty much the entire day is just me coding. And so literally if I were to make a literal day in the life, it would just be me, standing at this desk, just coding the entire day. Yeah, we're actually pre-launch. And so we're going to be launching next month, which is super cool. Part of the things, if you're interested, I can try to talk about the agent that I'm working on and kind of what's going into it in terms of, prompting, the tooling that I'm using and how I'm getting it to orchestrate everything it's trying to do and get more information. But for the most part, I think that it's just a lot of prompting. I feel like a lot of AI agents are really just, you play around with the wording and you play around with the prompting and you, in a sense, get used to it. But yeah, I'm just gonna be coding for the next few hours. We'll see if I do anything else interesting for the day. So until then, try to put in some snippets where I'm actually working and coding and see if I can talk about it, but we'll see. A lot of the data is again confidential. Yeah, I also feel kind of scammed. California is known for its sunny weather, but look at that. It's quite cloudy and cold these days, and so I don't know what's going on. I heard Seattle is a lot better in terms of sun, but what can you do? But yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. This is kind of a midday update. I have been prompting all day, really, and something I've come to realize is I should have paid attention more in English class because I'm doing a lot of prompting, and who knew in this day and age that you can kind of just be writing clear and concise prompts. But I'm using ChatGPT to write ChatGPT prompts, which is kind of meta. and like 4.1 really doesn't want to listen to you when you're saying, hey, don't do this. And probably because it starts to over-index on what you're trying to say. And so it's kind of a fine balance between like how much do you mention something you don't want it to do versus how much you really want to emphasize it. Because if you emphasize it, then it's going to start to look for like the item that you're trying to ignore. And so it's kind of it's a very much trial and error process where honestly I'm starting to separate out some of the responsibilities of these agents just so that they're more narrowly scoped. And so you have, an agent that does one thing and then calls a tool to another agent that do another thing, and you're just breaking up the tasks into little pieces. And so I found that it's a lot more accurate, but it's a lot more expensive. It's super cool to work with.
So a bit of a disclaimer, I realized many days later that after filming that video, I kind of just locked into coding for the rest of the day and honestly forgot to film a lot of the stuff that I worked on. So you have this outro. I, again, pretty much just coded the rest of the day, went home and went to bed, and nothing really interesting happened. But that'll be it for this video. I think that I'm trying to get back into the groove of filming things and editing. So after I post this, I'll try to keep on top of somewhat frequent videos. But until next time, see you later.